You have the bearing of a man of honor.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
The Guardians have been fan favorites since they were introduced to the MCU in 2014, and Gamora has always been one of the most popular characters. Many were heartbroken when she was killed during Avengers Infinity War. However, we've just learned that not only is she back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but there's also some creepy stuff going on behind the scenes. Stay tuned as we get into the details. First up, stars reveal surprisingly creepy behind-the-scenes detail. Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora, recently revealed some surprising and somewhat creepy details of what goes on behind the scenes during filming. The filmmakers have adopted some very unique methods to bring Gamora to life during the film's big action sequences. Apparently, they've got Gamora's heads lying around all over the set. Saldana recently appeared on an episode of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Fallon brought up one of Zoe's Instagram posts where she has casts of Gamora's head. Gamora revealed the head replicas are actually used as reference points for the visual effects team. Yeah, we're not sure about the technical details either, but we do know it would be super creepy to have replicas of your head lying around. Moving on, Zoe explains exactly how it works. Zoe explained that the replicas are made of casts of her head. That way, they can put on the wigs and any additional prosthetics to go on the character. Sometimes they'll do this just to put her in the background. So if they're shooting a big action sequence and Gamora is in the background during certain parts of that set, they'll just put a head running back and forth in the background. That way, the computer can track the movements. But that's not all the Gamora-related news we have. We know some fans are wondering what Gamora's doing back in the MCU and why she's with the Ravagers. Luckily for you, you've come to the right place, and we've got all the answers. Well, some of them, at least. Firstly, wasn't Gamora killed off? During the events of Avengers Infinity War, we saw something very tragic go down. Gamora died when Thanos sacrificed her on Vormir for the Soul Stone. After the time heist in Avengers Endgame 2014, Gamora travels forward in time to help the superheroes fight Thanos. Even though Gamora had no memories of Peter Quill or the Guardians during this, the mind link between Nebula's past and present selves allowed Gamora to learn everything that went down between her and the other Guardians. So it's probably going to be the 2014 Gamora starring in this upcoming movie. Next up, an exclusive trailer reveals she leads the Ravagers. Everything Marvel revealed at the Comic-Con 2022 was a surprising twist for the fans. It seems that in the third volume of Guardians of the Galaxy, not only does Gamora return, but she's also part of the interstellar crime syndicates known as the Ravagers. Come on, we all know the Ravagers. After Yondu died in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we saw the Ravagers in a really bad position. The Ravagers, or at least one faction of them, really needed a leader, and apparently they found one in Gamora. The official trailer hasn't been released to the public yet, but the attendees of this summer's Comic-Con managed to get a glimpse. Gamora's situation seems to be one of the film's core plot lines. After Avengers Endgame, Star-Lord was committed to searching for Gamora, and we guess that's what the team does after they leave Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder. We just can't wait until we can all catch a glimpse of what she looks like in her new position. Finally, how does she end up with the Ravagers? Honestly, we have no idea how and why Gamora ends up as the leader of the Ravagers. However, we do get some insight regarding where Gamora went after Thanos' defeat. Considering how lost Gamora is when she interacts with her fellow Guardians, it's pretty safe to assume she finds a way to leave Earth on the heels of the Avengers HQ battle. She probably wandered the cosmos until she found herself mingling with the Ravagers. After Yondu's death, the Ravagers really needed a leader, and Gamora's personality seemed to be a good fit. It makes complete sense for them to choose her as their leader. Thanos raised Gamora as part of his genocidal pack of elite warriors. Although the Ravagers are criminals, they abide by a moral code and don't involve themselves in child trafficking or killing without cause. That's pretty similar to how Gamora was before she met the Guardians. Avengers Endgame was the only time in 2014 Gamora fought alongside superheroes. So for this child of Thanos to be the leader of the Ravagers seems to be a massive improvement for the morally gray character. What's more, surrounding herself with fugitives could be a way for Gamora to protect herself from being prosecuted as a former member of Thanos' family. Her enemies would have to get past the Ravagers to get to her. There's another theory in the spin though. Maybe she didn't want to go with the Guardians after learning about everything they'd done through Nebula's mind link. She just didn't want to put them in harm's way. And that's not all for this video. Stay tuned as we take a look at why Gamora is missing from Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Warning, there are going to be major spoilers ahead. First, where is Gamora during the holiday special? Our favorite team just isn't the same without Gamora. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special sees the team reunite for a festive celebration. But I'll do you one better. Where's Gamora? There are more factors involved in Zoe Saldana's Gamora skipping the holiday special than simple geography. It's potentially far more complicated than that. Next, Gamora's story still inspires the plot of the holiday special. Capitalizing on Gamora's absence, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special sees a sad Peter Quill mourning the loss of his beloved Gamora, who has been long gone since Avengers Endgame. As the holiday season comes around, Drax and Mantis are headed to Earth to make an innocent effort to give Quill the perfect Christmas. Yes, you guessed it, they're going to kidnap and bring back Kevin Bacon. Gosh, that little footloose joke in Infinity War has come a long way. If the 2014 version of her is, in fact, leading the Ravengers, then it makes a lot of sense why Quill isn't looking for her in the holiday special. Remember how Gamora didn't even recognize him during the fight against Thanos in Endgame? Maybe it's less about finding Gamora and more about convincing her to leave the Ravengers for a love she doesn't even remember. And yeah, Peter certainly wouldn't want to go back in a Ravenger ship for some romance. That's literally where he grew up. So let's just say that from now on, things are going to get pretty interesting and complicated at the same time. Next, let's run it back and give you some context. Remember when Thanos gave up Gamora for his Soul Stone in Infinity War? Yeah, we cried just as much as you did. But we all hoped she would return, and she certainly did. Only the pre-Guardians version of her was still the fierce warrior of her father's empire. Neither she nor Nebula remembered any of the Guardians or had gone through the epiphany of going against the big bad Thanos. Turns out, Endgame was actually supposed to show Gamora walking away while the rest of the Guardians were mourning Tony Stark's death. Everyone would have been aware of Gamora's disappearance, and we would have even guessed she became part of the Ravengers. Sadly, the scene was cut out, so here we are. The scene would have easily confirmed that Gamora didn't know the Guardians and actively decided to leave them. Poor Star-Lord, though, looks like he's about to spend the next movie chasing a one-sided love with a younger version of his Gamora. And yeah, if you think about it, it sounds like the plot of Shrek Forever Ever. But hey, the MCU effects will make up for it. Finally, where is Gamora really heading? Like we said, it kinda makes sense that they made Gamora a Ravenger, considering that she was raised by Thanos. She was a sibling to the Black Order, and they are some of the coldest characters in the MCU. In contrast, even though Ravengers are basically criminals, they feel like way more of a family than Thanos and company. Of course, she'll need time to make amends with her morality, and the Ravengers characterize the perfect family-style moral gray for her to do so. Even Quill was a practicing thief with him, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks like the end of the original Guardians. Gamora's story after Endgame is rather complicated, and we'll see what happens to her, but it seems like the future might be a little ambiguous for the rest of the crew, too. With Gunn already claiming that there will be a major death or two in the upcoming movie, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if this is the end of the road for Gamora. It would be a good closure, considering the current circumstances. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Gamora will reject the Guardians in the upcoming movie? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you again in the next one.